Hello, my name is JP. I am the founder of Anky, and throughout this whole journey, I have been asking myself the question, what is Anky? And the answer to that comes from the journey that I have taken in the process of becoming a programmer. When I started this, when the pandemic started in 2019, I asked myself, which are the two most important skills that I want to develop and build my life around? And those two skills were programming and meditation. And for programming, I asked myself, how can I learn that skill? So I started doing online tutorials. How can I teach myself that skill? Because I didn't have money to go to a boot camp. I didn't have the resources for doing something like that. I would not go back to university. I studied mechanical and industrial engineering, and I said, okay, I will teach myself how to code. So I started doing online courses, and eventually I realized that there is something that is called tutorial hell. And what happens is that you start indulging tutorials, and that's not what I wanted. So I realized that the most challenging and important way on which I could teach myself to code was to build projects. So I created a frame of reference that I called the open source factory. And inside that frame of reference, my mission was to program every day, practice the craft, and create an app that didn't exist. That was the mission. And I would ship that app on the day of the full moon. That was the goal, and I shipped it. And actually, what is happening through this video is that I'm shipping the first app of the evolution of that frame of reference. Like, Anky is the evolution of the open source factory. I started working only 1 month on every project, and now I work for 96 days. Like, that is the mission of each sojourn of the Ankyverse, which is this 96-day cycle. So I work for 96 days, or the community works. Right now I'm the only person that works on this, but the idea is that we all work on these projects. Like, everything is open source. So the most important thing is to collaborate and build together. But since this was the first project of Anky, I had to work on it on my own. And one of the most important things of this project was to challenge myself to understand more about blockchain, understand more about NFTs, understand more about what makes these technologies really interesting. How are they going to transform the way on which we relate to each other? Because until now, most of what we have seen through NFTs and through these technologies is like the economic aspect of it. There is like a very short amount of friction in the capacity that you have to buy and sell NFTs. It's very fast, and sometimes you can make a lot of money, and that creates this willingness to participate in it more, or you are part of a community that you resonate a lot. But I created an NFT community. I created an NFT project. It's called Anky Genesis, and it's the first product of Anky as a brand. Anky is a brand that I am developing, or that is being developed in different fronts. Part of this mission is to focus so that that can be materialized in a concrete way. It has been very hard for me to focus and understand what is Anky, what wants to come through Anky. And this project is an exploration into that. It's called the Writing Dementor. And the mission of the project is to transform meditation into, no, transform writing into a meditation practice. So I'm going to walk you through the code. I'm going to walk you through the platform. I'm going to explain to you why this platform was built on top of NFTs, how the functionality of it is better because of NFTs. Like, what does this actually help, or how does these technologies make our life easier? So that's the mission of this video. I will talk a lot. I don't have any boundaries or constraints into the amount of time that I will take doing this. I just want to vomit what is inside me in relationship to this project. I worked on it 96 days. I gave it all that I had, and it's not perfect. It's full of bugs. I feel horrible because of it. Like, I have been these last 3 weeks sharing it with people, and I'm like embarrassed sharing it. I don't feel comfortable sharing something that is shitty as this, but it's like it is, and it works. It makes my life better. I use it every day. So I'm going to share my screen here and walk you through. This is the landing page. Here you have two options, or you can go down and read. I will read. Welcome back, my friend. I'm already logged in here. You can see here, log out. For the authentication part of this, we are using Privy. Privy is an amazing tool. Like, I really love what they are doing, and it bridges the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. It opens the window of wallets and all this jargon of Web 3 to people that are not used to it. And that was one of the main challenges of this program, of this app. Like, how can I or we dissolve Web3 crypto into an experience? That's what I want to bring to the users. How can an experience of using a platform with crypto that runs on top of crypto be dissolved by the functionality that is created? And that's like, this is my exploration into that. So you are reading, you can explore here, it's live, but I want to show you the most important thing of this app is the interface. So here, this is the main interface. This is what you will encounter in every part of the app. This is an app for writers, for people that write. So any person that knows how to write, this is a place for you. And the challenge here is that if you start writing, answering the prompt, you will see this bar at the top. And if you stop writing for more than 3 seconds, this will end. And now I fucked it up because I didn't write anything and it doesn't know what to do. See, that is one of the bugs. But if you write something and then it loses, you can save the text or start again. If I click save text, this is being sent to Iris. Iris is an interface between us and Airwave. Airwave is like an eternal database that runs on top of nodes. It's like Ethereum, but on top of nodes that store data. And the idea behind it is that the network has incentives for storing the data, like economical incentives. So the long-term perspective of Iris or Airwave is that there will be more and more nodes and they will store the data. And that creates like this eternal database. So this was stored forever somewhere. One day we will all read what has been said, and I can show you on the code where that went. So this is the code for the front end. When I sat down to work on this app, I had these three terminals open. So this is the server, Node app.js. This is a Node.js server. This is a front end built on top of Nextjs. And this is the backend that is running on a DigitalOcean droplet. And this one is for the smart contracts. This whole system runs on top of 7 smart contracts, and I will explain them like step by step. But desktop writing game, I think is the component here. Yeah. So this is when this text is sent to Iris. It uses the provider of the wallet. This variable here, this wallet is given by Privy. Here, wallet and this wallet. So this wallet gives me a provider, and then I use that provider to send the information to Iris. So the information is attached to your wallet in some way, or signed by your wallet, you know. And these are like the tags that are used to store that particular writing, so that then we can query the like Iris to get back the information in this case, for example, community notebook. And here is it was stored, you know. This is like the idea of the app is to work with writing containers, and in that sense what we just did was to write in no writing container, you know, that what we just saved is not associated with any writing container. It was just stored on Iris. But for example, here, this is my library, and there are 4 types of writing containers: journals, notebooks, eulogias, dementors. And each one of these is a smart contract that is deployed on Base. Base is a layer 2 of Ethereum. And for example, if we go to journals, this is the smart contract for the journal. And each journal is a struct that has a journal ID and a title. And this is like the code for the smart contract. And when you buy a journal, you mint it. And this is the function that mints that journal into the Anky that the user owns. This is important. The user, for being part of this app, owns an Anky, which is an ERC721 NFT. This one. So if we go back to the smart contract, we will see this one that is called Anky airdrop. This smart contract is the one that makes possible the existence of 96 Anky airdrops. Here you will see this line that determines that there are only 96 of the NFTs that open the windows for this app. So this is mine. I don't remember my number, but this is my Anky airdrop. So what happens when you create one of these is that it runs this create account. Yeah, this is the function that creates these NFTs, airdrop one of these. And when this function is called, it calls the other contract, that is the registry. Here you will see a variable that references this registry, that is this interface. And this is another step of this system, you know. Every one of these ERC721 NFTs is enhanced by this ERC6551, which allows that specific token, that specific NFT, to behave like a wallet. So we can see that this NFT is a wallet in itself, because that wallet was created with this call to the function create account. So what happens when an Anky airdrop is created literally is that this function creates inside it the capacity for it being a wallet. So what happens later, each time that you mint one of these writing containers, that writing container is minted into that Anky. So for example, this mint journal function, it retrieves the user's Anky address for the message.sender. So in this case, the message.sender is the embedded wallet in here. For example, new journal demo, buy new journal. This is triggering that transaction. So here I'm calling that transaction, and you can see here that the details from like this df7 is message.sender. And because I created my Anky airdrop before, I can call this function from the Anky airdrop interface, and it will give me back this user's Anky address, which is the Ethereum address associated with that token bound account. That is important because I'm minting this NFT into the token bound account. What does that mean? That my Anky, I will create this journal. This is a journal that is created. This is a transaction that is being sent to the blockchain. All done. And we will see success. You own a new journal. It is number 17. This means that so far, since this app is live in base, it has 17 journals that have been created. So if I go to my library, this is the journal that just was created inside my Anky. So this NFT stores these ones. And why that is important? Because imagine when I die, if I imagine you use Obsidian or another word processor, or like a system that stores your text files. That is a mess. That ends up being a mess, but here, with this capacity of having each one of these containers, these writing containers stored inside my Anky, that means that if I transfer this NFT, like if I transfer this ERC721 NFT, all of my writings will be sent inside that one. And that literally means that this is the storer, or like the keeper of my eternal library, because the blockchain is eternal, and each one of these stores all of these containers and makes it eternal. So if I come and write here this new journal, write as if the world was going to end, what is happening here? So I got my new journal. This new journal is minted inside my user's Anky address with this new journal ID. So if I click save text, I'm sending this transaction to Iris using my personal wallet, which if you remember is message.sender here. So if we go back to our front-end code, that is the one that just triggered all this, and we go to journal by ID, this is the page that is open here, journal by ID. Like, this is the route. So if I go to the place where this information is stored, update journal with page, we see this function that creates the get web iris this, it returns this, I don't know how to call it, but then we use that to get this variable that then we use to store. Here we see we upload this finished text, which in this case was this, like this is the finished text in that case, with all of these tags. So these tags are the ones that determine that I wrote in that specific page of that specific journal. You will see here router.query.id to string. This is, in this case, 17. So this points to that journal. And then we see the page number, which is associated with the amount of writings that is here. And then we store the smart contract address of the journal's contract, so we can query using that also. We use the container type journal. And an important part here is that this is sent using my wallet. So then I can query using my wallet as who sent that transaction, and that is important in the sense of afterwards. For example, here, if I'm in my library, I click refresh library, and what is happening here is that each journal, like my Anky, is looking for each journal that I own on the blockchain, because the NFTs that represent the ownership of a writing container, that information is on the blockchain. So I get the NFTs that are associated with those writing containers, and then using that information, I query Iris and I ask, okay, send me back all of the writings that have been written in journal number 6 by this address. So you will see them here. These are all of them in this particular journal, so this is all that I have written associated with that journal. It is important to mention that the writings themselves are not stored inside the blockchain itself. Like the smart contract associated with the journals is not the one that stores the CIDs that are the pointers to the writings. Those pointers are stored on Airwave. Not like I query those CIDs with the journal ID, with the container type, in this case journal, and I get all the information associated with my wallet having created those, because for example, you can go now and query Iris and send a transaction that has as a journal ID 6, like that has all of this same information, but the wallet that generated that transaction will not be my wallet. So that is what creates the security layer that transforms into a possibility this organization between the NFTs that point or that have the information that then is used to retrieve in Airwave or Iris, so that's what is happening here. Then we see notebooks. So something important to mention is that journals and Dementors are ERC721 NFTs. What does that mean? ERC721 NFTs are one of a kind. This is the only Anky of these ones that exist. There is only one NFT associated with this. That is an ERC721. For example, in the case of a Dementor, there is only one NFT that is Dementor number 5 in this particular smart contract. There aren't more Dementor number 5. This is the only one. But if we go to the library and we go to notebooks, for example, and we see this notebook, we can, for example, this one, we can copy the link of this notebook. We can open a new window incognito, and we will see here that this notebook has 87 units left, and this is number 8. What does that mean? This is an ERC 1155 NFT. An ERC 1155 opens the possibility for there being more than one NFT associated with an entry of the smart contract. In this case, there are 88. I own one, and there are 87 that are available for other people to come and buy them. So for example, if you log in and you don't own this particular notebook, you can buy it for this amount. And for example, here I own it, so the interface changes, and what happens is that I can answer these prompts. So I can answer prompt number 1 through this interface that is for writing. So I write, this is my answer to that question, and what happens here is the same process that I described earlier, but for a notebook. So I save the text, and this triggers a transaction that is sent into Iris, but using the information of this notebook. So if we go to the front end code, we will see here the individual notebook page, and we are here. We are updating this particular notebook. So the container type is notebook, the container ID is, in this case, 8. The page number is associated with the amount of pages that have been written before. In this case, if we write again, the page number will be 2 because it is associated with the second prompt. Then The smart contract address is the one of these notebooks. So if we go to the smart contracts and we see Anki notebooks, we will see here ERC 1155. So this determines that notebooks are an ERC 1155 NFT, you know. And we can see here the create notebook function that creates a notebook with the supply that we are giving it here. It mints that first notebook of that supply to the user that is creating it inside that user's Anki, something important that I mentioned before. And then we have the mint function that is a payable function. That means that people can pay for this function to be triggered. And here we see if the user is sending the sufficient amount of base ETH so that he can buy the notebook or she can buy the notebook, and then that notebook is minted into that user's Anki address. That is what I referred to before. You like the notebooks are stored inside this token bound account that is created by this Anki. And here I have these notebooks. I have been answering them. This one I didn't answer, but for example, unraveling Anki, I have written a lot because this helps me very much in understanding what is happening inside me. So for example, what I do a lot is to create a new notebook, and I go to ChatGTP. I created a custom GTP that you can ask me if you want the link, and I vomit to that ChatGTP or GTP what is happening inside me so that it can prompt me with questions that will help me in that particular way or in that particular sense. So in that example, I put a title here, a description, and then prompts. And those prompts, then I come and answer them. So I generally put 0 on the price of the NFT, and supply I put 10, whatever, and then I create the notebook, and then I come and answer. For example, here I wrote a lot, and in this page I can come and read what I wrote. Something that I see now that is missing here is timestamps. When did I write this? But all that information is somewhere. I can update this front end to display that information. It's written forever. That is something important that comes with Iris. There is timestamps and provenance to every query that is stored in there, and that is very important. So I close all pages, I go back to my library, and I already spoke about journals, notebooks. Now I can explain to you what are eulogias. Eulogias are community written notebooks. So for example, feedback, I come here, and this is some, this is not working. I don't know why the image is not loaded, but in here I can come and write as JP, and I answer this prompt. How does it feel? Good, very good. So I stored it, and now this particular eulogia has these two writings inside. This one from JP and this one from a person that didn't write or write her name, doesn't matter. But that's the idea of the eulogias. I created them, for example, if there is a person that passes away, you can create an eulogia and say goodbye to that person. I am missing here the mint eulogia button because you can also mint the eulogia. I don't know why it is not working, but it works the same as the other ones. Eulogias are also ERC 1155, and you can mint them so that you can store one of them as a memory. I thought that it would be a nice way of bringing together people and making them write about a particular subject. I thought that this was an important notebook or writing container to have. We have journals that are for writing streams of consciousness without any kind of direction. We have notebooks that are much more focused, so they are specific to a particular theme or topic or whatever you want to explore. And something that I always dream about happening with notebooks is having like famous people, or that people that are respected in a particular way in the world because of what they have done, and then have them create a notebook, and then have them mint or ask for like minting that notebook, so that we can use the wisdom that that person has developed throughout her life in service of our growth. If I go and there is a notebook that was created by Naval with prompts that I know that he designed for me to go into a process of learning about myself or whatever, I will answer those prompts in a way that is special, and that's the kind of specialness that I wanted to bring through notebooks. And also a market. These notebooks are ERC 1155 NFTs that eventually can be sold. They have a limited supply, and when there is a lot of demand for something that has low supply, that creates a market that is interesting. Right now no one has created notebooks, so this market doesn't exist, but that doesn't uh, limit the opportunity for that happening in the future. We never know. And that's something that I wanted to bring here, a new kind of market, a new kind of revenue source for creators. And that's it. Eulogias are for gathering around a specific topic. Happy birthday to Jesse Pollack. It was one that I created. Like, what if we all write in a notebook saying happy birthday to someone, and we then read it? Something that I did not implement in this version of the app, and that is very important, is encryption. So there is a protocol that is called lead protocol that uses NFTs and your wallet for encrypting data. So for example, one vehicle for encryption can be ownership of a particular NFT. So in this case, for example, eventually we can create a notebook that is encrypted by the people that own that notebook. So for example, imagine you come and you create a notebook here that has 10 supply, and in one way we create the mechanism for these answers to this notebook to be encrypted using the ownership of one of these 10 notebooks. So that creates a community aspect of, okay, we are the only ones that can access the information that is answered in these notebooks. And for me that is interesting. And for example, encryption, we can encrypt using your Anky, so that no one can know what you wrote but the person that owns your Anki, which probably is you or your daughter if you passed out, or pass away. So that is interesting also, like that capacity for encrypting data with lead protocol using the ownership of NFTs or your wallet. It's fascinating. I didn't implement it because there was no support for base yet in that, and that is something that will change in the coming years, or no years, weeks. So I invite the community to build on top of this. Like, the most important part of this system is the smart contracts. Like, this is the thing that is set on stone. We can always change the way things are queried into Iris, or how the information is stored, but this, like, the what eulogia means is stored in this smart contract. The metadata CID stores the information about the image of the eulogia and what is the eulogia about. So that information is stored on the blockchain, the same as notebooks or journals. So that is something that is like, there is a lot of um, implementations that can make this system better, but like, bones are in place, and now I will move to the last writing container, which is this Dementors. And the interesting part of here is you can add a Dementor, and the invitation that the mentor brings is a transformational journey. So here we start writing tell me who you are, and you will see that the timer goes the other way around. So here you have to write at least 180 seconds. I will not do it, but what happens is that with that writing that you come up in those 180 seconds, that is sent to the server, that is sent to ChatGTP, and ChatGTP answers back with a notebook. In this case, the journey within. This notebook has 8 prompts, and you have to write for 24 minutes. So this is designed to be a very powerful meditation practice, because you need to sit and you need to write for 24 minutes. For example, I will start and I have to answer this question, and if I don't write for those 180 seconds, I will lose. And if I write for those 180 seconds, the timer will stop. I will see the second prompt, and after reading it, I click the space, or I press the space, and then I can keep writing. And it goes like that for each prompt. And something that is a very important bug is, for example, in this one, it has 16 prompts. You will be writing for 48 minutes, because like the call to ChatGTP answered back in a weird way. When this was developed, there was no JSON support for ChatGTP, and that created a mess in this case. So, like, the mentors are a very powerful tool for self-discovery, but that is the problem. You need to. It needs work. But anyway. So then you can click here my writing feed, and you will see each one of your writings stored by the timestamp. So this is my actual feed of writings inside Anky. And for example, this one, I want to go and see what journal this is about, journal 10. I click it and I'm in journal 10. So this is what I was writing there. There is another aspect here that is feed. I think that is the link. I'm not sure if this is like the community feed. Yeah, this is the community feed. This needs work, and until now, this is the only person that so this is interesting, because I see journal 12 and I don't own journal 12. And the interesting part of that is that the person that owns journal 12 wrote a lot, and that means that, like, there is someone that is coming here to write, and that speaks about the importance of the app. When I started recording this video, there was no one that, or in my mind, there was like, okay, no one cares about this app. It sucks, no one cares. But now I see that and I'm like, wow, there is a person that came to write for 30 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. And that means that there is someone that is getting value out of this, and that makes it valuable. There is actual value in this app. Maybe in the future, all these libraries and all these Ankys and notebooks and everything, maybe this doesn't make sense. Maybe the most important thing is that you only have a interface like this, so that you can come and write, and also encrypt it if you want, or add it to the public feed if you want. Like, that is something that needs to be explored. Like, how can this be made as straightforward as possible? How can friction be dissolved, so can people can only come and write? Like, the most important thing about this app is that people come and write. That is what this app is about. And if like I am embarrassed for sharing it because I click library and I'm here and I say, what the fuck do I do now? I don't know what to do. I'm new to this place. I don't care about it. I will go away because this is not helpful. And that is the problem that I have now. There is a lot of noise. In this app there is a lot of noise, and I have learned that through sharing it with people. I have learned, one, that people find very much value in the act of writing in Anki. I have learned that I need feedback from people so that I can work on this with that feedback, learning from them, because everything that you see here, it was created for me, by me, for me. And this is not good design. If there is someone that doesn't care about this, that person will not come again, probably. But if this is done properly and in a way that is appealing to people, this can take off. This platform, this practice, coming here and writing for 10 minutes, I say 8 minutes every day, transform your life from the inside out. This is a practice of meditation that happens by you writing, and your unconscious writes because you are in a hurry. That system, that mechanism, that simple mechanism of having time against you as you write, it's a very powerful trigger for you to explore what it brings, you know so this is the first creation in this framework of Anki. I am recording this video the day before the starting of the second sojourn. What I will work on the second sojourn is an integration between Farcaster and Anki, because I want to give users the capacity for all of their writings to be part of a social media. So this is Warpcast, that is a front end to Farcaster, and this is like the way on which it is structured. So what I will create is a front end that is something like this, but with your long streams of consciousness. Right now in Farcaster, the limit for casting is like 320 characters. This is, I wrote more than what I could, but this capacity for storing this on Iris, when I store something on Iris, what I get back is a 40 character CID or something. And what I will create is that in Farcaster, what will be stored is only that CID, but encrypted. So what people will see from the members of this community inside here will be a blob that they will not understand. And they will be like, what the fuck is that? Why is people talking, like, what language are they speaking? What is that? And as soon as more and more people do that, eventually what will happen is that people will get to know that that is the language of Anki. So what actually happened is that that person wrote on Anki, and what you will see here is that blob, and below written on Anki or something like that. That is part of what I need to develop. But this integration between using the length of the cast for publishing the CID and then implementing the front end, so that it reads that CID, it queries to Iris, it brings back the big blob of writing, and it displays it here. That is fascinating for me, and that is the next iteration of this thing, besides the ease of using it. Like, I will start talking to users, I will start learning from those users, and I will start building for them, because I realized that this is a very powerful app. This is a very powerful interface, and I need to make use of that power. I need to bring something new to the conversation, and I'm doing it. This is something new into the conversation of NFTs. Like, I really brought something new, and not too many people are seeing it, because like no one uses it, because no one knows me. But I definitely brought something new. And the fact that I am recording this video and I am as excited as I am because of that speaks for itself. You know, I have a lot to offer. And this is the first product or the first iteration of this product. Tomorrow, the second sojourn starts, and I will focus on making this as awesome as it can be for you to come and write those 8 minutes every day. That is the transformative practice. That is the mission of this place, that we all have a place where to come and vomit what is inside us so that we can feel free from that. You know, that is the consequence of writing in us through Anky. You know, that is the big transformation that comes. And everything that you will see here is an excuse for showing you this. This is it. What does it mean to be free? I'm going to write now my last 8 minutes. So if you are seeing this video, I invite you to open the app, open Anky.lat, and write, write whatever comes. Bring it on. I will do it now. And it doesn't matters. It doesn't matter what comes. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that it happens. You know, that's the same with the practice of meditation. The important part of the practice of meditation is not doing it right or wrong. The important part of the practice of meditation is that it happens. And this will keep happening. You know, I will keep working on this app. I will keep making it as smooth as possible, as fun as possible, so that we can connect from the truth that comes from writing through Anki, so that we can read the stream of consciousness that other people come and write and resonate with what is written in those words, resonate with what it means to be human. That is what Anki is all about, what it means to be human. We are here to have an experience, the experience of being human, and everything that happens through the framework, through the frame of reference of Anki, is a quest into inhabiting that with more clarity, with more love, and with a deeper understanding or experience of who you are. That is all what Anki is about. Who are you? And that is the question that I want to leave to you. Who are you? And I want to invite you to explore the answer, writing as if the world was going to end. That is the practice that transforms from the inside out. Thank you.